I want to bring in now the New South Wales Shadow Education Minister, Prue. We are going to talk about issues directly relevant to your portfolio, but you're not that far away from an election either. Are you feeling as good as the Labor Party in Victoria?
122 days. I don't, look, I think, but who's counting? Look, I think we have a pretty far mountain to climb, a high mountain to climb, but the government has been in here in New South Wales for 12 years. They're going to be asking for a fourth term.
Well, you can't exactly paint yourself as the underdog then.
Look, I think we are the underdog in terms of the number of seats that we have to win, the margins of those seats. In reality, as we all know from the federal election, just comes down to who can actually get majority or a slim minority based on the seats they win. And we're out there, our candidates are out there knocking on doors today.
Okay, how do you think Victorian Labor is going to do?
Yeah, well, look, let's see. I think Dan Andrews obviously is a pretty strong personality.
Yep.
Look, I think they've done some pretty good things from Victoria. And look, the Liberals in Victoria certainly have to win a large number of seats. We certainly hope that Dan Andrews is returned for the people of Victoria.
Okay, let's talk about education now. Full disclosure, I'm a parent, so I have vested interest in this.
Don't we all? Yeah.
Co-education. You want to give more people, more families access to co-education schools. Now, how big of a issue is this? And do you see it as a problem per se? Yeah,
well, there are some areas in Sydney in particular where, because of the catchment in which you live, if you want to go to a public high school, a comprehensive high school, you really don't have a choice as to whether you send your girl or boy to a single-sex high school. There's, say, for instance, in Randwick, there is no option for comprehensive public co-educational high schools. So our policy announced today is really that we would look at in the first term ways to ensure that every parent of every child in New South Wales could send their children to a co-ed high school. That could
mean... You're not
mean...
going the opposite way. You're not saying, you know, parents need the opportunity to send their children to a single-sex school. So, so what's your thinking around this? What's changed?
We're certainly not going to be closing any single-sex schools or anything like that. They exist already, and if they suit the communities that they're in, that's great. The thinking really is that there's not that choice available to parents if they live in particular areas. How is it fair if you live in a particular area that you actually are restricted? Like that could be opening up catchments. It could be building new schools, like in the eastern suburbs. You know, every political party is talking about that at the moment, and it's something that we have said we're going to do in the first term of the government is find a way to build a co-ed high school in the eastern suburbs because they only have the option of a single-sex public high school at the moment available to them.
There's a big focus on education from you, Chris Minns, at the moment. Is this where you're going to win the election?
Yeah, look, we think a lot of people are concerned about it because there's a chronic teacher shortage. Kids are coming home every day saying to mum and dad that they don't have a teacher, or there's merged classes everywhere. I spoke to a teacher last week who told me that there was a high school... Sorry, that was my phone. There was a high school that there was 400... missed periods, like without a teacher, over a period of 5 weeks.
Yeah. So, but the Liberal Party does have a plan in place. You can't do it overnight. You've got to train teachers. You've got to
100%.
find them. So, are you promising to do anything better in a quicker time frame? How would you do it?
Yeah, well, we've already announced that we're going to convert 10,000 temporary and casual teachers to permanent. The truth is, they've had 12 years really to do this. They were warned in 2019 in black and white. This is a huge problem.
And then COVID
they just ignored it. It was a problem before COVID. It really was a problem before COVID, and they've done really nothing about it. They had a big recruitment strategy that they made a big song and dance about to recruit overseas teachers. It's recruited 3.
You're not talking about pay though. You're going to pay them more?
Well, we're going to scrap the wages cap so that teachers can actually argue for a pay increase. At the moment, they can't even do that in New South Wales. So that's something important for teachers and nurses and all public service workers, that we're going to get rid of the wage cap. It's a handbrake on the economy, and it means that they can't even argue for a pay increase in New South Wales. It's basically illegal to do so.
What about nurses? I mean, they're protesting right now.
Yeah, well, they're on a 24-hour stop because...
This is the 4th time this year, though, so what are you promising them? We're in election territory now.
Yeah,
so
100%
a lot more
we
focus on Labor.
Yeah, and our promise to the nurses of New South Wales is that we will commit to safe staffing. That's what they're asking the government for.
They're asking for more pay, though.
Yeah.
Are you committing to that?
Well, we're committing that we will scrap the wages cap so they can actually argue for a pay increase, so they can get more pay, not just more pay, but actually more staff. That's actually the critical issue. And it's something that really is a commonality between teachers and nurses. The workload on both those industries, even before COVID, was enormous. And now look how much we've relied on all of them through the pandemic and then some surely they need some relief from the increasing workload. We're losing nurses by the truckload and teachers.
And inflation. They need some relief from that as well.
Yeah,
like everyone in
absolutely.
Australia.
Absolutely. Everyone's struggling.
Where should this be? If you say you lift the wage cap, they can argue for a pay rise. What's reasonable?
Yeah, well, what's reasonable is that they actually have a system where they can argue for a work value, a situation where they don't have a pay cut, which really what the government is offering them at the moment, the way the inflation goes, it is a pay cut. So we can incentivise people into nursing and teaching because we need them critically in those industries.
Okay, Prue.
Thanks,
Good
Laura.
to see you.
Thanks
so
you.
much.